Hello, this is Jiayu from the Intelligent Mobility Design Center at the Royal College of Art in London. I'm presenting the paper called Designing for Drivers' Emotional Transitions and Rituals. Our research focused on identifying and designing for two emotional transition scenarios for drivers. An important area of research supporting drivers' emotional experiences is how one defines emotions. It can be very challenging to obtain information about the exact emotions drivers experience, especially when subtle. When we present design-led research focusing on identifying scenarios that contain normally unarticulated emotions and mental reminders that drivers use to make a journey safer and develop concepts around them. Two scenarios are ready, steady, relax, focusing on preparations before a journey, and driving whisper, focusing on journey progress indication. Related research work around drivers' emotions covers four areas. One is to summarize driving-related emotion keywords to find out what emotions are, such as fearful, happy, angry, etc., and where emotions come from in driving situations, such as communication to other cars, passenger mood, etc. The second area is to leverage media to transform emotions for safe driving. For example, creating a relaxed atmosphere by using sounds, images, and music to transform drivers' states of emotions. The third area is to use different sources of sensory input, such as gaze, speech, and gesture to improve drivers' emotion. The last area is to explore effective strategies to improve drivers' emotions, such as empathetic assistant. Our research focused on emotional transitions instead of fragmented emotions, mental readiness instead of behaviors, and tried to devise vehicle features to avoid negative emotions before they happen, instead of looking at strategies for after negative emotions occur. We conducted two research phases, user studies and concept design. In user studies, we had telephone interview and enactment workshops and journey shadowing. We had 21 telephone interviews with new and experienced drivers talking about long distance travel and daily commute to collect insights about how people manage their emotions in car journeys. In enactment workshop 1, we had 7 attendees to talk about commute or long distance car journeys to define and collect the details of emotional transition scenarios. In the second workshop, we had after ideation workshop to evaluate design briefs and interaction details. In 4 journey shadowing sessions, we had experienced drivers, including a driver who has used the same car for years, users of a family car, and a driver using a new car to explore in-depth interaction details. In the concept design phase, we had ideation workshop with vehicle designers and design researchers to create concepts. And we generated 2 contextual videos to highlight where vehicle objects or extended functions could host and support emotional transitions. 2 video demos were created to illustrate the design concepts. We found that there are actions that drivers perform repeatedly during vehicle use, which impact a significant meaning to their experiences related to emotional release. We call them rituals. This helped us to explore the turning points when a driver is transitioning from one state of emotion to another. All events that help this process happen smoothly will help us explore natural in-vehicle interaction concepts supported by advanced technologies. The table shows ritual identified by interviewees related to transitioning from one emotion to another. We can see that a lot of them are related to preparation before setting off and while driving on long distance journeys. We had several key research challenges, such as identify typical emotional transitions and investigate detailed scenarios around these transitions and design in-vehicle interaction concepts to accommodate these emotional transitions. Design-led research is valuable in the research process because it's helped us to define experience from users' own perceptions, to frame emotional transition processes in the whole journey experience, and to collect lived experiences. For doing so, we used journey maps, emotion indication tools, and paper prompts to trigger people to talk about their stories and to collect information naturally. For the first concept, ready, steady, relax, we looked at startup sequences when using a new car. The sequence of actions can be found in the table. We identified 3 features that could assist drivers' emotional transitions before driving. First, when users order new cars, their settings are automatically sent to the car. Next, when users sit in the car, safety-related checks and automatic adjustments of seats, mirrors, and wheel are made, saving time and effort. Finally, leaving the choice of media playlist to the users instead of trying to guess and play would be beneficial, as we found the people wanted to make their own decisions to help ensure they are in control. For the second concept, driving whisper, we investigated journey progress checking rituals. The image shows the workshop participants' drawings visualizing their preferred journey progress indication designs. Designs preferred by most were progress bars, indicating start to finish, left to right, and maps indicating the car's position relative to key landscapes, which you can see in image A and C. The second common area of drawings is to indicate stops as a percentage of the journey or notifying the driver of potential places for breaks were very common. You can see in the image D and E, suggested progress indicator content varied depending on journey length, more detail requested for long journeys, less for shorter distances. You can see them in image B. The table shows journey progress display design suggestions. Our study showed that people would prefer some level of personalization and choice in how a journey's progress is displayed, with a preference to have information located on the dashboard or steering wheel. Thank you for watching, and please go to our website, emotionaltech.rca.ac.uk, to watch our conceptual and concept videos.